Kia ora and welcome along to the Met Service forecast for today, Thursday, the 25th of May. Well, we start things off with plenty of clear sky and sunshine across the country, thanks to an area of high pressure. You can see on the satellite images here, there's not an awful lot happening across the North Island. There's a bit more cloud down in the far south. And you can see right just off of the map there, a little bit more cloud feeding towards us. So we have got some wetter and windier weather returning for the South Island as we head in towards Friday. But for the North Island, high pressure really sits over the top of us and it keeps things fairly settled. A different story down south. The high pressure gets pushed away and we start to find rain feeding in towards parts of Westland as we go through the rest of today. For Thursday, one or two heavier falls to watch out for there, but generally you can see for most of us this afternoon is looking pretty dry. That rainfall though increases as we head through the night time tonight, Thursday into Friday. Some heavy falls to watch out for. You'll notice as well those winds picking up too, especially as we go through towards Friday. But those winds are set to be a key feature of the weather, particularly around this eastern side of the South Island as we head through Friday. As we go through the rest of the night time towards the early part of Friday, there you can see the high pressure sits across the top of the country. Down south though, heavy rainfall feeds on towards that western side of the South Island. So there are some heavy rain warnings in place for Fiordland and Westland. In amongst that rain, some thunderstorms as well, bringing perhaps a risk of some hail and some stronger gusts of wind. And while we're talking about wind, on the other side of the hills in towards parts of Southland, the Queenstown Lakes area, and even up in towards the Canterbury High Country, we're going to find those winds really picking up, perhaps even severe gale in the most exposed areas with gusts 120 to 130 kilometres an hour. But a really unsettled story down across the South Island, very different to the weather up on the north. But you can see we've got a fair number of watches and warnings in place for Friday, mostly for that rainfall on that western side of the South Island. So heavy rainfall warning for places like Fiordland and those southern parts of western and south of Aotearoa. But we've also got warnings in place for the parts of the Canterbury headwaters and a watch as well for the Otago headwaters. On that eastern side, we'll find our winds really ramping up. Northwesterly winds really start to pick up for the likes of, say, Southland as we go through towards the very early hours of the morning for Friday, and in towards the afternoon, up in towards Canterbury as well. So we are going to find those winds really ramping up through the daytime. Strongest winds inland in towards the likes of, say, the Canterbury High Country, gusts 120, 130 kilometres an hour, not out of the question in the most exposed areas. We have also got a warning there for Banks Peninsula with gust values, again, 120 kilometres an hour as we go through the daytime on Friday, perhaps even in towards those early hours of Saturday for those northern regions as we go towards the start of the weekend. But I think we are going to find the wet weather is going to be pushing on towards that western coast pretty much from the word go. You can see those darker blues showing that heaviest rainfall. Like I say, in amongst it, some thunderstorms as well, perhaps even some hail. And those strong northwesterly winds will push some of that rainfall in towards this eastern side as well. So I think we will find it turns wetter with some patchy rain pushing towards the far southern parts of the country, far southern and eastern parts of the country, I should say, as we go through the afternoon. You can see for the likes of, say, Canterbury, the cloud thickens up through the afternoon, and then we are going to find that rainfall just push in towards the Canterbury High Country, perhaps in towards the foothills as well. It's not out of the question we might catch a few spots of rain in towards Christchurch, but I think generally it's going to be more cloud than anything else. Down this eastern side, though, do watch out for those winds. They are set to increase as we go through the daytime on Friday, and we have got those severe weather watches and warnings in place. Up in the far north, that rain pushes in towards that western side, but generally for Nelson and for Marlborough, it's just seeing that cloud thickening up through the daytime. One of the advantages of those northwesterly winds will be temperatures aren't nearly as cool as they have been. We're going to find highs back up to around about 17 or 18 degrees Celsius down that eastern side of the country. So not a bad story there in terms of our temperatures, but with a fair breeze behind it. Also going to mean our nighttime temperatures don't get too low either as we head through in towards the early hours of Saturday morning. Let's cross towards the North Island, and compared to the active weather on the South Island, a very different story. Areas of cloud, in fact, all we're really going to be doing is a bit of cloud chasing, I think, for the North Island. There's plenty of clear sky, plenty of dry weather. The exception being, with a bit more of that northwesterly, we find the cloud pushes in towards parts of the Kapiti Coast and Horowhenua, and we might just find a few showers through there and perhaps skirt the likes of, say, Taranaki up in towards Taranaki and Monga. But I think generally, it's just areas of cloud increasing as we head through towards the afternoon. But for the majority of the North Island, things are set to stay dry thanks to that high pressure. In terms of our temperatures, again, you can see we've got highs back up to around about 15s and 16s up towards the likes of the Rotorua. We might even find up to about 17s or 18s further north. And again, nothing too cold as we head through in towards the early hours of a Saturday morning. So how's Saturday shaping up? Well, we can see that wet weather is still lingering on that western coast. It starts to pull away, though, from this eastern side. So generally a drier and not as windy story for the likes of, say, the Canterbury area. We'll keep hold of the high pressure just about across the North Island through the daytime on Saturday. So I think, again, for the majority of us, it should be a dry day on the North Island. Just seeing that cloud thickening up. And as we head through in towards Sunday, do keep an eye on the forecast. Another area of low pressure comes in from the northwest, a bit of deja vu through there. Increasing those winds, those northeasterly winds this time up through Northland and Auckland and towards the Coromandel. And you can see we've got some more wet weather just pushing back in from the north and the west as we head towards the end of the day on Sunday and through towards the start of next week. And that's it from me. There's more at metservice.com.